Friends, how are you enjoying the season? Use the link in the show notes to let me know your thoughts and opinions so far, and ask any questions you may have as well. Also, leave a review for the podcast if you haven't already. Good reviews help the podcast get noticed by more people who could benefit from this content. Thanks so much for your support. This week's episode dropped yesterday. Have you listened yet? No? Well, what are you waiting for? Stop this Minisode and listen to it right now. I'll wait. Okay, so I can't sit here and wait while you do that because I have something to say in this episode. But seriously, this Minisode might be slightly confusing if you haven't listened yet. So if you want to pause it here and go back and listen, then go ahead and do that. I won't mind. In this Minisode, I am correcting a minor error in my speech that I made at the beginning when I was introducing my guest, Dr. David Chotka. I called my friend Johnny T's podcast, the one I poached him from, Refugee Freedom Stories. I don't know how many times I've done this. Seriously, everyone, it's a problem. I've noticed it, that I've done it many times, and it's slightly irritating to me. I don't know why it's so hard for me to get it right, but his podcast that he hosts is called Refuge Freedom Stories, not Refugee Freedom Stories, Refuge Freedom Stories. I'm really unsure why I have trouble saying that, but that happens every once in a while. So if you want to keep me accountable, and if you hear me say it again, please do comment, send in an email, something like that, and just let me know that I did it again, because I don't understand why it's so hard for me to say. It's really not. But Johnny T's got an amazing podcast, which is one of the reasons why I've poached some of his guests. He asks great questions. He's got a great demeanor. The whole thing itself is just, you can feel God's presence in it. So I really love listening to it, and I encourage you to listen to Refuge Freedom Stories. Find it on Apple Podcasts, anywhere else you get your podcasts. He's an amazing host. Johnny T is a friend, and I enjoy his podcast so much. So if you want to look for a new Bible-believing podcast, look no further than Refuge Freedom Stories. And again, sorry for the mistake. I guarantee there's going to be more minisodes where I'm just plopping out, whoops, we made a mistake, or I made a mistake somewhere. So be sure to look for those. And please do keep me accountable if you hear me make a mistake with a Bible verse, with a word, whatever. I don't care. I just want to know that I am speaking truth, because that's what this podcast is about anyways, right? Honest Christian conversations. So honestly, have a conversation with me if I'm saying something wrong or mispronouncing something. So with that, I want to end today's minisode. Thank you so much for listening today, and thank you for supporting the podcast. Thank you for listening to every episode. If you have not listened to every episode from season 4 yet, please do get caught up. Each episode has been amazing, and next week's episode is no different. It is going to blow the socks off of you and everyone else who listens. Is going to upset some people, but it is necessary to discuss. So please do not miss that episode. Until then, God bless.